Oof, it's very dark. Oh, well. Good, so people can see us less clearly. We have a nice strong backlighting. All right, ready? Why, hello.
Hey there.
So used a tool of our kitchen to great effect, and I think it's actually a great idea for Christmas gifts for people that you don't know what to buy for. It's a chain mail cast iron scrubber.
Yeah, so if you've ever used a Brillo pad or an SOS pad, this is one of those on steroids.
Yep, it is chain mail.
Yeah, and it doesn't break. We've had ours for 6, 7, 8, 9 years, and you scrub anything with it, and it's fine.
Yeah, it's especially good for cast iron because you're not supposed to, clean cast iron the way that you clean other dishes. So it's supposed to help reduce the amount of water that you need to use and things like that, or eliminate, using water at all.
Yeah.
But it also has a great use on other surfaces as well.
Yeah. And I was wondering, because, this is like an Amazon type thing, right?
I'm sure that you can get it at like a local boutique store, but certainly you can get it on the World's Warehouse, which is Amazon.
Yeah. Well, if it's like 2 for $10, how many would you have to buy to make your own chainmail? And then is that
that's
cheaper than buying chainmail at like the Renaissance Festival? I'm just curious,
I'll get back to you with a number.
Yeah, they're little triangle shapes, so I think is it?
No, it's a square.
It's a square? Okay.
It's like a 4.5 or 5 inch square. But you can get many different shapes. So you can also get circles. So you could do the pectoral muscles chainmail. You give yourself boobs.
That would be odd. But you could do it, I guess.
I don't know. It'd be pretty hard to connect them.
Make your chainmail with that.
You could. I could have Wonder Woman chainmail. Just what I've always wanted. But it's a fantastic tool. You used it to scrub the grime off of our toaster oven this morning with like a little bit of Comet. And I don't think our toaster oven has been that clean since we got it. It's not perfect, but...
Yeah, the last time I tried to clean it, I didn't get it that clean, and that was probably like 7 years ago.
Yeah, and you're pretty neurotic when it comes to cleaning things like that, so you don't give up till like you really feel like there's no more effort that you can put into it to make it better. So yeah, it looks great with just like a little bit of Comet and that chainmail cleaner. And I know I use the chainmail cleaner to clean other kind of things other than, of course, cast iron, which it's excellent at cleaning. And you just throw it in the dishwasher with all your other soiled dishes, and it cleans it and
won't rust.
Yeah, it's great. So if you're like looking for easy Christmas gifts, cast iron chainmail scrubber. Who knew?
Yeah.
Well, I'm Kit.
I'm Dale.
Welcome to Catholic Hitch. We are a Catholic family seeking heaven and hoping to pick up others along the way.
Small talk.
Well, we obviously skipped last week. It's just been kind of a busy time, I feel like. So I thought I would start a recap of the things that we've been doing that have been keeping us busy, and you could interject or we could expound upon things as it comes up. So the last time we podcasted was right before. It was Halloween Eve.
Yeah.
All Hallows Eve. So we had Halloween the very next day. And it was quite a nice Halloween. It was a little chilly.
That wasn't too bad, though. All things considered, we were able to go out in like a light jacket. We've had Halloweens before where you're in full, almost
like
snowsuit wear because it's so cold with the wind, which it is that pretty close now. It's not too bad today, but yesterday was a little brisk.
It was nippy.
Yeah.
It's going to be a cold week here. But yeah, Christmas. Halloween was quite nice. We have neighbors who have the same aged children as our youngest. Mm-hmm. And then my sister's oldest is about the same age as our youngest. And she lives down the street. So she comes this way. And then our 2 next door neighbors also pop out of their house. And we take the horde around. And we go down the street, across the street, back up the street, and then back to our house. Because by then it's pretty dark. And, you start at 6. So it's kind of like twilight. And it's good to get the little ones off the street. And they've gotten enough candy. And man, we have like 4 children. So between trunk or treat and Halloween and All Saints Day party, we have so much candy in our house, plus the candy that we didn't give out on Halloween because there just weren't a lot of trick-or-treaters this year.
Yeah.
I was giving handfuls of candy.
I did the same.
Yeah.
Almost half a bucket.
It's so hit and miss in our neighborhood. It's really inconsistent, where some Halloweens we have like a good turnout and others we have crickets. And this was more of a crickets year, like maybe 12 groups total.
Yeah, I don't know.
And this was the first time like you came with, because, you know, I'm pregnant, and man, when I got done with going down the street and back up the street at a slow pace with children, my hips were feeling it for sure. And I was kind of regretting going.
Mm-hmm.
But we left a bucket of candy like on the porch, and, you know, we heard like, oh, it's going to be empty by the time you get back. Someone's just going to dump it in their bag. Nope. People were taking the single candy. However, we had a surveillance tool for the first time.
Yeah.
So you won a Ring camera at a silent auction a couple months ago.
Yes.
And so we put the thing in front of the Ring camera. So it's kind of interesting. We're still on like the free trial where you get like the video feed like recorded. And so it would chime while I'm down the street, and I was able to take the phone out, look at the app, and I could see live time what was happening on our porch. And people were taking their one piece of candy. It's like they could have taken, I should have said, please take handfuls. But actually at that time I didn't know how busy it was going to be.
Yeah. It also doesn't hurt that our children are getting to that age where they want to use a pillowcase for their candy bag. Thus, you know, each one was probably about a third full on the olders. And the older kids, they got to go a little bit further.
Yeah, so we dropped Johnny and me off, and we took over like being the trick-or-treaters of the house, and you took the bigger kids a little bit further.
Yeah.
Although not as far as they could have gone if they had paired up with our other neighbors that we carpool with to school.
True.
They hit the entire neighborhood.
Literally, I think they did. Yeah.
Because they got over to our house. We didn't go close to their house.
No.
So I'm sure they have so much candy. But yeah, we still have bowls and bowls of candy on our counter. And unfortunately, I'm pregnant this year. And so basically, I'm like, don't mind if I do have a Kit Kat bar at 10 a.m.
Yeah, I'm not tired of Twix yet. And I probably won't be because I'm so addicted to them.
Oh, and you're not home all the time with the buckets of candy, so it's not been good for me.
But when I go over there, I grab like 3 at a time.
So you're making up for it?
Mini snack things.
They are smaller this year.
Yes.
Have you noticed?
Yeah, shrinkflation's a thing.
Oh, yeah. Like the wrapper's the same size, but the actual candy on the inside is definitely smaller than it was last year.
Yeah, that's happening on everything.
Which maybe it's okay. It's a little annoying, but do we really need that extra little bit of candy bar?
No, we don't. We're Americans. We're too fat already.
Yeah, we don't. This holiday, it's out of control, man. But so we had Halloween. Then we had All Saints Day. Mm-hmm. And we all went at different masses for that. So you took the younger kiddos to like the evening mass, and I went to morning mass. And Christina went for the first time in her life to noon mass all by herself. Because I had some work to do for the All Saints, All Souls party at church. So I thought I was going to have a staff meeting, which wasn't the case. So I was like, well, you go into mass, and when you're done, just come and find me. And I used that time to do a lot of printing, which was very good. Ultimately.
Yeah.
And so then that was the day before the All Saints, All Souls party, and you came to that. So that was a big event in my life and the kids' life.
Yeah, it was fun.
And I guess your life as well. Yeah, it's a lot of setup. So a lot of times we've had like a carnival style All Saints, All Souls, and like it's fun, but I couldn't really wrap my head around all the carnival games and their purpose in a faith formation program. So I was worried and stressed out, and I actually had some like flashes come to me.
Worried and stressed out?
Never. Yeah, I feel like I'm talking too much in this recap.
I'm listening and commentating.
Okay. So I developed a couple games that I think worked out well, and we shared one of those, I think, 2 weeks ago. So I think it was an overall success. We had some great costumes for the kids. Mm-hmm. So we have an All Saints costume contest. That's an annual thing. And this year I got pretty good prizes. It was $20 to the gift store at church, which has a lot of selection.
Yeah, when you said that, the light bulb kind of went off, not on the kids, but on the parents' faces. Like, wait, I can take my child and make them
actually buy stuff in that gift store.
Yeah.
And I already heard a couple of kids came by and they were like super excited. Good. So the gal, like the main volunteer for the bookstore, was telling me that there was some really nice costumes.
Yeah.
And Terrence dressed up as his confirmation saint, which was St. John the 23rd. Yeah,
where did he get that? Was that costume at the church?
It was at the church.
That was an impressive costume.
It was. I normally do try to make costumes and I like to be a little bit more elaborate for like All Saints Day than for like maybe Halloween. And this is not the year for that to happen. So I found someone finally showed me where all the costumes are at church. We have like a room of costumes. So I basically had my kids go pilfer the costume closet. And so Rosie was Rosalie, Saint Rosalie, which was like a hermit woman who lived in a cave. So she was basically like dressed in raggy kind of clothing, which she looked good. And Terrence, as John the 23rd, found essentially a bishop's costume. So it had the
red cape, the thing you put on your head.
I know I'm starting with the base. What's the base thing? What's that long garment that priests wear? They're it's not a cassock.
No, the cassock goes underneath.
Okay, whatever. Has the long, like, shoulders to floor, white garment, long sleeves. Had essentially what I want to say is a cummerbund, but I'm sure it's not called a cummerbund in liturgical dress. Then there was a cape, which had the full length as well as the, like, shoulder length semicircle on it, and it tied, cinched at the throat, and then he had the little cap on his head.
Yeah, I never can remember the white garment that goes over the cassock.
He looked great.
Whoa.
Is that our dog?
That was our dog.
Sounded like a cat.
I think
he's like, I know you want me to be a cat, so I'm going to try my best.
That was weird.
So yeah, Terrence looked excellent. And I did ask, so our pastor judged the contest, and he also opened the whole thing, and we prayed for the dead because it was All Souls Day. And that was one of the missions of the night, was to actually have people learn how to pray for the dead as, you know, a part of our Catholic faith.
Yes.
So he helped lead that prayer, and then he judged the costume contest. And it was hard.
That was hard for him to do.
And I requested him to not select any of my children. I was like, please do not pick any of my children as winners. Because first of all, Terrence looked great, but I didn't do anything for that costume. So, you know.
But he picked it.
He did, and I told the kids in advance that I was going to ask Father for them to not win, and I said we would go to get ice cream, which I have not yet done.
Oh, maybe we do that today.
That'd be a good one. So anyway, that was pretty fun. That was All Saints, All Souls. Then we had our pastor over for dinner.
Yes, that was fun.
It was, and it was also humbling for me.
It was,
because I didn't cook.
Well, yeah.
I'm not saying that you're not a good cook, but
you know want
me.
To cook.
I want to cook, and I want to make my like from scratch French bread or sourdough bread, and I want to, you know, make some of the best meals that I make in vegetarian, which usually are ethnic, which I probably would have cleared with him. You know, I want to pull out all the stops, but we had a very humble dinner, and it was good. But yeah, it's hard because I'm like, it's the showcase of your talent as a cook. And we outed ourselves as vegetarians. So.
Did we out ourselves, or we just stated that we were?
Well, we just stated that we were, which is like strange in the Catholic circles.
Yeah, but I think it's no secret in our church that we're vegetarians.
Not to like other parishioners, but I'm not sure any of the clergy knew.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess not.
Yeah, but it was nice. Father was over for a couple hours. I talked too much. See, you're not.
You're not.
That was a very long pause before that denial because it's true.
You were excited. Well, you do. Whenever we have a party, it's when you have a moment that you're comfortable with these people to talk and just enjoy conversation. Like when we're in a crowd of people, your mom's the word, and I'm the one that's all social butterfly and having conversation.
I know. When I feel like I hear that I talked a lot, I'm like, crap, that means I didn't let Dale talk at all.
I don't tend to talk when I'm just one-on-one very often. Like like with a couple of people.
Except with me.
Well, yeah, you're different.
I couldn't shut you up.
Yeah.
Our initial dates.
Well, yes, that's for other reasons. But I'm talking about just like when we're in a group of small people. I tend to not just talk a lot. But
Challenge accepted.
But when I'm in a group of, like at a social party, I talk a lot and I'm moving around and having conversations. Because I get energized in those conversations, but you get energized in these kind of conversations. Like
That's
when it's
true, I guess.
small one-on-one, like groups where you feel comfortable with that person.
Yeah, like I already picked out the like question I'm going to ask your boss the next time that we have like any kind of a social event at your office.
Yep.
Because he's always good for like a really good like conversation. So
yes,
my annual question is already in the bag or in the barrel.
In the barrel, yeah. It's coming up soon.
Let's take that or make that a more accurate metaphor. In the barrel.
Mm-hmm.
So we had our pastor over. Then I can't honestly remember what we did last weekend, except that it was a lot. I think there was bouncing.
Oh, right. We went to a place for a birthday party.
With all 4 kids.
Yeah, with all 4 kids.
We were invited to a birthday party.
Yep, and they had a blast. And it was honestly refreshing to be there because it proves the world has gone back to normal in many respects. Because this is a place where children are jumping and touching everything, and the plastics are filthy. And nobody's dying. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Nobody's wearing
everyone's
masks.
aspirating,
right.
Basically particulates.
Yeah, and you've got little babies all the way up to like our age easily that were there. There was one couple that they had to, I don't know if they were on a date or if they were married and on a date, but so they had these like slick pillow cases basically.
Oh yeah.
And they were running, they had these trampolines that were on like a 45 up the wall, and so they were running up the trampoline, then they would bounce onto the sleeping bag thing and then slide down, and they would tumble into each other, and they were laughing hysterically. It was very cute to see.
Aw.
Yeah. So I mean,
that's a young couple.
No, they were older than us.
What?
Yeah.
I wish I had seen that.
Yeah, they were definitely older than us.
You should have taken a video. You could have put it on YouTube and like probably been viral by now.
Oh, yeah, probably.
So, we were really busy last weekend, and I think we just needed to like take a break on Sunday. We were tired. And then this week, I don't know, what have we done this weekend or this week? It's been more of a normal week.
I worked a lot.
You worked a lot. I worked some.
Yeah, I mean, even this weekend, I've been trying to catch up on our accounting and utilize the software.
So you worked for like hours yesterday.
Yeah, it was most of the day.
That, and then I worked for hours on a Christmas thing that I'm making yesterday, which was pretty cool. And here we are. Yeah,
and Terrence and I have been watching movies.
You have been. That's been kind of fun. Yeah,
we watched Gladiator last night. I'm trying to remember the one we watched Friday night, but I can't recall. It'll come to me. I've been thinking about watching the Underworld movies with him.
Okay, you'd enjoy that.
Yeah, we've been watching X-Files, which is probably I've only had to skip.
That's a weeknight one.
Yeah, I've only had to skip one episode that was a little
extra X-Filesy.
It was about this crazy creature that would lure in their prey with pheromones, and then they would change genders after basically consuming their prey. It's like, we don't need to watch that one. That one's a little too crazy right now.
PG-13.
Yeah, and so we got a little bit into it. I'm like, we're gonna skip that one. And Terrence is like, yeah, we should skip that one. Like, okay.
He's like, I don't need to be disturbed for years thinking about how weird this is.
Yeah. So we've been having fun.
Cool.
Doing that.
Yeah, because I've been so tired, I just kind of end up hitting my wall like a lot earlier than normal. So, you and I watching something together has gone away.
Yeah, completely.
So now Terrence and you are watching stuff together.
Yeah, we watched, actually it was during their sleepover, so we watched Ms. Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. And I thought it was going to be a horrible, cheesy, bad movie, but it actually wasn't too bad. It's a kid's story And there are some weird parts where, the book probably explains things a little bit better. Like, why is this random person here shooting at things? I don't understand. But overall, it wasn't too bad. Samuel L. Jackson was the bad guy.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. He wasn't that good of a bad guy. But
it's hard to imagine him as a bad guy.
Yeah.
He's not very menacing.
Didn't quite work out very well. But it was a good kids movie, and all the kids enjoyed watching it.
And he wasn't able to say any curse words.
I know.
That's pretty tough to make himself menacing without throwing out
right?
Swear words.
Yeah. Big talk.
Big talk. Oh man, recopying took a lot longer than I thought it would.
That's fine.
But we've been doing something else at church. Do you want to describe?
Yeah. So there is a program, I assume you would call it an apostolate, that is called Acts 29. And it's coming out of North Detroit, Michigan. I don't know what that is exactly.
Is it Lansing?
I don't think it's Lansing exactly. Maybe it is Lansing because it's the diocese of Lansing.
Yeah, it's it depends on the diocese.
But so it's coming out of that area, and it's being driven by Father John Ricardo. If you've ever listened to Father John, he has an amazing charism for talking and explaining our faith and a way that you enjoy listening to it. And so he wrote a book called Rescued, and we have been reading that book, listening to the book, and now we are going through kind of video small groups with the book. And the whole purpose is to see if it makes sense for our parish to utilize it to kind of re-foundationalize the kerygma.
To the parish.
Yeah, to the parish. Not just like the 10 of us that are watching it right now. Okay, that was good. We all watched it. Now we know what we know. We won't tell anyone. I think that in the end, the idea is that it's going to cross-pollinate with some other things that are going on. And then also we have a core leadership team that's a part of that we're also going to, I think, in the end, utilize this Acts 29 in order to help us grow and then discern better means to grow the parish in a focused way. So I'm excited about that because I'm on that team. But we get to do this together because you being on staff, all of the staff has been participating in these grouped conversations and learning about rescue.
I guess right before they started doing the series, they realized that it's not only for a leadership team, it's also supposed to be done with staff.
Yeah.
So
and our Archbishop has been firmly behind this program. So I learned that all of our deacons are gone this weekend because they're on a retreat for this program for Acts 29 to help them grow as well. So it's really cool. As a whole archdiocese, we are really investing in utilizing this as a tool to do faith, worship, evangelization, conversation, community better.
And we've gone through 4 chapters of the video series so far, and you can find it. There's a lot of recordings of him doing this series at different sites.
Oh, really?
But the nice, professionally done recording is on their website, and I was finally able to find it. So
I think it's free.
It is free.
Yeah,
yes.
You can just get straight access to it.
You can, but it's not on YouTube. So you have to go to their website to play.
Well, that's good. Everything shouldn't be on YouTube.
I know, but it really threw me for a loop. So. And it wasn't terribly easy for me to navigate to be honest. Yeah. But I did find it. And so I missed last week, or I guess 2 weeks ago, because I was at a conference. And so I kind of watched what I missed, and then you and I did the group discussion together.
Yeah.
And it's been interesting. So it starts out, of course, with the plan of God and creation. And then we're at the point in the series where it talks about the bad side or the, what's going on. That of course there's a devil, or things are not as they should be. That the world is not as it was designed to be by our loving Creator. So that has been 2 chapters, and it's a really nice way of starting to look at the devil's influence on us. and take away, I guess, make it simpler to see the devil and to differentiate the devil from maybe his human actors that are being manipulated by him.
Right.
And to know that we're being manipulated by the devil as well.
Yeah. Because I don't think it's a hard thing for most Christians, especially Catholics, to be able to state that the world has forgotten who the devil is. He doesn't exist. He's not real. It's just this thing, it's a psychological thought.
Isn't it it's in one of these classic movies that it's a line that like the greatest trick the devil ever played was to convince the world that he did not exist. Mm-hmm. That's in like one of those movies that we watch for architecture school, I believe.
I don't know about architecture school, but
we had to watch a bunch of classic movies for architecture school.
Yeah, but I don't think it was in those.
You don't think so?
No.
But that is exactly where we are.
I would say that we learned that the devil didn't exist in college.
Well, yeah, I'd say even prior, I definitely, growing up, had this idea that like the devil was just the term that we used like for the collective impulse toward evil. And I didn't believe in like a actual like personified devil for many, many years.
Yeah, I didn't know or understand it, but I had I think a fear of the devil, like, that, the devil's bad, the devil's a boogeyman, that kind of thing.
So it's like a more secular view of the devil.
Yeah, but I didn't understand the way I understand him now.
Yeah.
And the one thing they talk about, Father John talks about in his book, is really thinking of the devil in this trick. He makes us forget that in our relationship with God, there are multiple people on the stage in these scenarios. When there's a enemy on the stage, it isn't the one that's yelling at us. It's actually the devil in the background that we don't even know is there, because we've forgotten he is on the stage when it's us and God and others. Yeah. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, and he's insidious in his influence.
Yes.
He wants to not be detected.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
I thought there's a saying, the enemy is my enemy, because we forget it's the don't hate the player, hate the game. Well, he's the game. He's the one behind it all, but we tend to hate the players.
Yeah. Especially right now.
Especially right now, as it is that time of year.
Yeah.
When we forget about everything else except for politics.
And we are angry because we've got election results coming out, and we're like, what kind of idiots vote for
psychotropic drugs being approved in your state? For legalization
of like psychotropic mushrooms.
Yeah.
And things have not been bad enough with like legalized marijuana for the last 8 years or whatever here in Colorado. Nope, we gotta add some psychedelic mushrooms to it. And people were getting bad trips on marijuana already, which I imagine you have to take a lot of marijuana to do.
No, you don't.
Oh, no, it's all like pharmaceuticalized.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, you've forgotten that.
I've never used
the marijuana that they sell here in Colorado is not the marijuana of the 1960s that was coming off of a plant and dried and then smoked. This stuff is genetically grown, and it is designed to have as much THC as possible. And in so them doing this, it is killing people. It's bad stuff.
Yeah, you read articles about the crazy trips that like out of towners take when they come here and they eat some brownies, and it's nasty. So now we're going to have legalized mushrooms.
Not just bad trips, but like hospitalization.
Yeah. No. Yeah, bad. Like that's a bad trip when you have to go to the hospital.
I'd say a bad trip is, I saw some things and it was crazy and I'm never going to forget that. But when you go hospitalization, that's like ODing. That's a different level.
Okay. So people are misusing like an already legalized drug that impairs judgment. Mm-hmm. And now, it was a really tight margin, which is nice to see, but it's still squeaked
on
out.
The vote.
So on the vote
for this magic mushroom bill.
And we talked a little bit about like the mushroom article from a few weeks ago, but now we live in a state where it's legal.
Right.
So it's going to just kind of become prolific. And that isn't why we wanted to talk specifically, but you get
but it proves the point, though,
the example,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, it's talking, we're angry at these people that voted for the use of a psychotropic mushroom as something that anybody should have the ability to do. But that's not the real enemy here.
Yeah.
You know, the real enemy is Satan, that he is pointing us against each other because it's an us versus them.
Yeah.
You know, they're bad, not us. And then they think on their side, well, no, you're bad because you disagree with me. And then we fight and things get escalated and sin happens.
Yeah, the name of the devil, like Diablo as well, literally means the divider.
Mm-hmm.
And Satan means the accuser. So he's back there in our heads, like dividing us from one another as much as he possibly can. And we play right into it all the time. It feels good to like have an us versus them argument.
Well, think of all of the super PACs that provided Satan mail out to everyone. Because what was every single advertisement that you saw? It was about some candidate and that they're bad because they don't agree about whatever the viewpoint is.
Yeah.
They're going to keep you from having your free abortions, or
they're going to give all their money. They're going to raise taxes on you.
Right. All of these different things. And, you know, they make sure they have these desaturated images of the opponent of them. And, you know, it's like the worst picture you could find. The dumb cow looks and
they
anything.
Also captured they must have used like a video to like grab the image. So they got like a half blink on someone. Oh, yeah,
of course.
Because, you know, you do blink naturally when you're speaking, when you're alive. So they got one where her like eyes were like nearly shut. So she's like looking all squinty. And, you know, they're trying to influence. So we always keep our mailers and like do an annual lesson on like influence via marketing with the kids, which they so love. They did used to like it more than they did this year, for sure.
A lot going on.
Okay, yeah, I can keep going, Mom. But they prey upon the us versus them mentality, and they have to make assumptions that like they're going to make a bold statement that you are likely to agree with. And it's funny when they make a bold statement that we don't agree with, because we're like, oh, okay, this sounds good. Like that's a great scenario that you're fear mongering around.
Yeah, for especially this year with especially here in Colorado. We knew exactly who not to vote for because most of the ads were talking about how such and such candidate is going to keep you from having legal abortions. And then people are going to die because they're going to have illegal abortions. And we need to provide safe and legal abortions.
Yeah, there's a couple mailers
that kind of stuff
from really early on, like early October, I wish I had kept because it was like, whoa. Like, oof, this is very radical. Like, if they think that this is the future under like a no abortion, but I think I threw it away in the recycling bin.
Again, they're all lies.
It is.
They're all temptations.
Praying. It's playing with something, with forces in us that they don't even really understand, and we have to be the ones to understand what's actually happening.
Yes.
That like it isn't actually these candidates that are the devil.
No.
Or freaking the Messiah either. Like there's no candidate that's going to save us.
No, they're not prophets.
There's no issue that's going to like make the world go to Armageddon, or save the world.
Yeah.
It's really hard to break out of that viewpoint. And, you know, that's what was nice about the discussion is like we have to start focusing on who the actual enemy is.
Yeah. Kind of a completely side note. So one of the things that we talked about in the very beginning in the creation is, you know, that in Genesis it talks about how the author of the chapter in the Poetics says, you know, God created the sun and the moon, and the stars. And we talk about how the stars and how massive our universe is. It's so large we don't even know all of it yet. It's so big. And I've been reading through Genesis because of this, because it's piqued my interest again. And one of the things I got to was when God is talking with Abram as he is beginning to make his covenant with Abraham. He talks about how the progeny, the descendants of Abraham, will be as many as the stars, which made me think, I don't know necessarily if Armageddon's coming anytime soon, because what are we at, like 8 billion people, and we would need to have like had a quadrillion people before that would happen. So not that it's necessarily true, but that's where your mind goes, right? You're like, oh, how do I quantify this? Does this mean
God definitely gave us an endpoint in that statement?
Yeah.
He couched it and hid it away for us.
I know, totally. I figured it out,
You could go seminar.
Yes. Yeah. So, but anyway, side note, I was
That's
thinking
pretty cool.
about that. You know, the interesting things you can learn and think about. But going back to what we're talking about, I think it's more just we always have to remember that the devil is real, and it's not the people that he's utilizing against us that we have to be angry with. It is the sin that he is tempting and getting them to do so that they forget about God. They're angry against God, angry against us, and therefore do not know the beauty and salvation that God gives us.
Yeah, and we are under his influence too.
Yes.
And that's something that like we can't disregard, that we are being manipulated by a divider and by an accuser and a flatterer.
Yes. Yep.
That we need to really be mindful of, his role in our souls. And it's really easy to see the devil in others' actions. And it's much harder to see the devil in our actions. But he's there. He's on that stage, like you were saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's worth checking out this series. We've watched a lot of different charisma-oriented series, at least I have, over my many years. And I'd say this one is well produced, and it doesn't feel as manipulative as most of them start to feel. It's not using like a lot of swelling music, imagery to kind of manipulate you. It's presenting like a nice argument very cleanly.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that you should check out.
Yep.
Maybe I'll try to track it down for the show notes.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to grab it. You can get it on Amazon or Audible or...
Oh, Rescued book for sure.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the Acts 29.
Yeah.
So there's two programs out there. There is an acts29.com, but it's an evangelical program. And I'm not sure if it's like actsapostolic.com or something like that for this one.
Yep.
We'll find it. I think I've got it in my history. We'll get it.
And I haven't been reading or listening to the book, but you've really got a lot of benefit from that.
Yeah.
And we did this supposedly in our diocese last year for Advent.
Well,
but it wasn't well preached.
One of our vicars was very kind in following what the bishop wanted, and the others kind of tended to not follow it. So we heard bits and pieces of it. So if you're in the Archdiocese and you heard it, it was when they were talking about created, captured, rescued and respond.
Was it restored?
No, respond.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
You're the one reading it, so.
I actually know what they are now.
Nice.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you could do it independently as an Advent thing, too.
Yeah.
Knowing that
definitely.
we're preparing for the birth of Christ here shortly. Yeah. Very shortly.
Yep.
And on that note?
Yeah. Drop us a line at catholichitch.com or catholichitch@gmail.com.
Yeah, we don't own a website yet.
Nope. And may the Lord guide and direct our journey.
Amen. Yeah, it's the arm that picks up in the mic.